Hey guys, this is Ray with DRP Motorsport, and I had a lot of guys ask me to do a follow-up video on the Suncoast Performance Stage 4 rebuild kit that we put in the 10R80 in our 2019 Mustang. And anyway guys, I have been really busy. Obviously I can't work on my own car all the time. I wouldn't be able to pay the bill, so I've worked on it as I could. So try to make a long story short, removed the transmission. That's the last video we did on the car, and carried it to a local builder. His name is Randy Sessoms at J&S Transmissions in Clinton, North Carolina. Super good guy, guys. If you're local and you need somebody to rebuild your transmission, hit Randy up at J&S Transmissions in Clinton, North Carolina. He is a good guy, knows his stuff. Anyway, Randy put the transmission together for us with the parts from Suncoast, and we got it back and we reinstalled it in the car, and got the fluid in it, reprogrammed the car. We have to, when you change transmission, valve body, solenoids, that sort of thing, you have to reprogram some stuff back in the car for it to operate correctly. So we done that, got it topped off with fluid, and took it for a quick little test drive. And anyway, something wasn't right off the bat. It was jumping in and out of gear. Didn't want to shift correctly. Already out of gear. And we're going again. So, pulled it back in the shop, put it back up on the lift here, dropped the pan, and I'll try to insert a little video here what we found. We found some metal in the oil pan of the transmission, and was a little concerned that, you know, maybe something wasn't right with the build. So we took the transmission back out of the car, carried it back to Randy at J&S, took the converter out, obviously, when we took the transmission out, sent it back to Suncoast, and had a conversation with Suncoast about the metal, and they really weren't concerned about it. And after talking with Randy and Clinton about it, he really wasn't concerned about it. He said a lot of times when you rebuild a transmission with fresh components, you'll get some residual metal in the oil. It wasn't ferrous, it was appeared to be aluminum. But sent the transmission back to Clinton, sent the converter back to Suncoast. Suncoast split the converter open, everything looked good, put it back together, they sent it back to me. Randy tore the transmission completely apart, didn't find anything wrong, put it back together. He did inspect things as best he could without completely tearing everything apart. When I say completely, he didn't completely disassemble the valve body, he didn't disassemble the transmission pump. So, but anyway, just initial inspection, everything looked good, put it back together, put the transmission back in the car, topped fluids off, reprogrammed everything again just to make sure there was no programming issues. And anyway, took the car for a little test spin, still doing the same thing. It was jumping in and out of gear. So trying to make a long story short, I've had contact with my builder Randy. I've had contact with Montana and Ellison at Suncoast, which, by the way, fabulous company to do business with, great guys, know their stuff. Matter of fact, Montana's the guy that does the 10R80 development for Suncoast, so I got to talk to him personally. And also talked with a guy by the name of Randolph, who is a transmission engineer for a big nationwide transmission company. I can't say who he works for, but he's been nice enough to offer some assistance here. So anyway, talking between those three guys, they suspect possibly something wrong with the valve body or the pump, because we didn't, you know, fully disassemble those things when we had it out. So after talking with them guys, they wanted me to hook up a line pressure gauge, a manual line pressure gauge, to the transmission. So we did that and took the car for a little spin best we could, and I'll show you a video of that. And in that video, you'll be able to see that the line pressure went in excess of 400 psi on that 400 psi gauge. It pegged that gauge. So after talking with the engineers and all my folks about that, that's just way too much line pressure. So it was determined that either the pressure relief valve inside the valve body or the pressure control slide valve inside the pump has a problem with it. So we dropped the pan, and you can see that the valve body and the pump is out of the transmission. And that's the nice thing about a 10 or 80 transmission. You can pull the valve body. You can actually, after you pull the valve body, you can take the pump out. You don't have to pull the transmission to remove those two items. So they're back with Randy at J&S. And so that's where we're at. Randy's going to inspect the valve body. He's going to tear the valve body completely apart. He's going to check that pressure relief valve and see if it's stuck. And going to disassemble the pump, make sure there's nothing stuck there. I think we're going to find a problem somewhere between those two areas. And anyway, get it back together. I do want to make this statement that stuff like this does happen when you rebuild transmissions. You obviously don't always hear about it because the shop that does the work makes sure everything's right before the customer gets the car back. And you're just seeing what happens in reality in some cases. And this is a high performance build with an experimental part, so things happen. So I'm not blaming anybody. It just happens. And Suncoast has been fabulous. Randy at J&S has been fabulous. And anyway, we're going to get this figured out, guys. And hopefully the next video, we'll have it back up and running, and we'll be able to show you what this thing can do. So as always, thanks for following along. God bless each and every one of you, and we will see you again soon.